It seems like the Mets have finally completed their offseason, so in today's video, I want to be breaking down every single player the Mets lost, that they gained, and what my final grade for the Mets 2025 offseason is. Mets fans, I've loved the support on this channel. We are at 89 subscribers, just 11 away from 100, so please, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel to help me reach my first 100 subscriber goal. But now let's get into this video. Who the Mets have gotten, who the Mets have lost over the course of this offseason. So first, we're going to start off on the left side, the Mets' notable losses this offseason. So obviously, you guys know the big four: Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil. Those are four huge losses. Those are all culture guys that have been on the team for quite a while. Now, you guys know at first, the Pete Alonso loss, the Edwin Diaz loss, the Brandon Nimmo loss, I didn't love them. The Brandon Nimmo loss, I was more okay with because of the fact that he is pretty injury prone. He has plantar fasciitis in his foot. He's only going to get more banged up and hurt as his career goes on. So I thought that moving on from him was the correct move. But I'll give my opinion on who we got back, Marcus Semien, in just a moment. Edwin Diaz, I thought was an absolutely horrible loss. It actually just came out the other day. Andrew Friedman, the Dodgers president of baseball operations, he said he didn't think that Edwin Diaz was going to end up being a Dodger, but because the Mets didn't offer him a bigger contract, Edwin Diaz chose to come to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So even the Dodgers didn't believe that Edwin Diaz would be leaving, but he did, and that was an absolute terrible loss for the New York Mets. He has been our lockdown closer for the past however many years he was with the New York Mets. Phenomenal closer. He will be greatly missed, but we'll get into his replacements in just a little bit. Then as far as Pete Alonso goes, this was the worst loss of them all, in my honest opinion. He has been a franchise legend, has the Mets home run franchise record. He just broke it this last season, but he left the New York Mets to go to the Baltimore Orioles on a 5-year, $155 million deal. So losing Pete Alonso, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, he has been the face of the franchise since he has been called up, and I believe it was 2019, maybe 2018. And losing him to the Baltimore Orioles was just sad. Didn't even give him a contract offer. So this all happened at the start of the offseason, and once Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz were both gone, I think a lot of Mets fans lost faith in David Stearns. But we'll get into the rest of these losses now. Jeff McNeil was traded to the Los Angeles A's for cash and a 18-year-old pitcher from the Dominican Republic. We'll see how he pans out. He's still in single A as of right now. Then some other losses. Tyler Rogers, when he signed to go away, I believe he is a Toronto Blue Jay. I could be wrong though. I forget where he went. But Tyler Rogers, he was a massive loss at the time because we had no one in the bullpen. And Tyler Rogers last year, we traded 3 prospects for him at the deadline, and he was phenomenal for us. So losing him really hurt. And the last 2 losses, Cedric Mullins and Ryan Helsley, were a little bit easier to deal with. We traded for them both at the trade deadline. Ryan Helsley was supposed to become an elite closer or an elite setup man option for Edwin Diaz, but as we all know, he ended up being a complete failure at around a 7 ERA in his half-season stint with the New York Mets. And as far as Cedric Mullins goes, I don't think anyone wanted him on this team. When he did come, he was absolutely horrible, and he noted that in the offseason, leaving the Baltimore Orioles mid-season after being there for his entire career really took a toll on him mentally. So he really had no opportunities to succeed with the New York Mets, and it is what it is. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen, but what are we going to do about it? But now, as far as the Mets acquisitions go, the biggest one is going to be Bo Bichette to me. He is, in my opinion, the biggest or the best replacement for Pete Alonso. Obviously, he's going to be playing a different position. He'll be playing third base, which is a position he has never played in the MLB before. So we'll see how he ends up being there defensively. But Bo Bichette's bat is absolutely phenomenal. He's going to be around a 300 average hitter. He has a little bit of power. He could hit around 20 home runs for you. He doesn't really steal bases that often, but that's fine. But he is just going to be a solid bat behind behind Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto, just driving in runs consistently. So Bo Bichette, I absolutely love that pickup. He is a massive piece to this team, and he is a clutch hitter too. That is the theme of the Mets bats that they got this offseason. A lot of clutch hitters, Bo Bichette being one of them. Most notably, his Game 7 3-run home run over Shohei Ohtani. They couldn't win that game, obviously, but still an incredible, feat, no matter the defeat or not. The next most important one to me is Freddie Peralta. I mean, he's going to be the ace of this rotation. Phenomenal for the Milwaukee Brewers last year. Pitched to a 2.7 ERA. Mets give up quite a few good prospects for him in Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams. Over the guy at the bottom of the screen, the bottom of the acquisition list, Tobias Myers, we also got him in exchange in that trade. And Freddie Peralta is going to be the ace of this rotation. But Tobias Myers was not just a throw into that trade. He still has 5 years left of team control. Pitched with a 1.91 ERA as a reliever last season with the Milwaukee Brewers. So he's going to be a phenomenal bullpen piece for this Mets team. And also, he has a starting pitching capability. He actually started a game against the Mets in the wild card in 2023, where he pitched 5.1 innings, and I believe he had 12 strikeouts against the Mets. So he was absolutely dominant against us, and I'm happy that he's going to be on our side now. But as for some other acquisitions, Marcus Semien, who we got in the Brandon Nimmo trade. At the beginning, I didn't love this trade for the Mets. Well, I loved it because we got rid of Brandon Nimmo's contract, but then Marcus Semien's contract is nearly just as bad, just 2 less years, which does help a lot. But Marcus Semien, what he's going to bring is going to be a great defender at second base. That is what he is. That is what he's going to be at this point in his career, just a great defender. However, I will add this. If he could be at least a 700 OPS hitter, maybe 750, he would be a phenomenal pickup for the Mets, because what we need the most is defense, and Marcus Semien will give us a gold glove kind of guy at second base. But if he could have at least a solid bat, he will be a phenomenal player for the Mets. Just a couple of seasons ago, he hit 40 home runs, or north of 40 home runs, for the Texas Rangers in the year that they won their World Series. So that bat has potential. We'll see if it comes around. The next guy, Jorge Polanco, was phenomenal for the Mariners last year. Also a very clutch hitter, just like Bo Bichette. And I will say Marcus Semien is a very clutch hitter too. Jorge Polanco has a ton of power, hit a lot of home runs last year for the Mariners. He's not going to hit for average, but he's going to hit a lot of bombs, a lot of hard hit balls. Very clutch hitter as well. I love the pickup, but he is also going to be playing a position he has never played before in first base, just like Bo Bichette's playing third base, which he's never played before. Jorge Polanco will be our first baseman, a position he has never played. So like I said, we'll see how he comes along defensively there at the start of spring training, which is going to be coming around very shortly. Next pickup that we have, Luis Robert Jr. I absolutely love this pickup. Very low risk, high reward kind of guy for the New York Mets. He has that 30-30 potential, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. His bat has kind of fallen off the last 2 seasons, but he is one guy who I think a change of scenery will do wonders for him. And now that he's coming to New York, the bright lights, we'll see how he performs. Will he completely crumble like he did with the White Sox the last 2 years, or being in a big market, big team, make him, play even greater and like his 2023 All-Star self? We shall see. And then as for the bullpen, our 2 biggest pickups are going to be Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. Both of these guys were Yankees last year. As a matter of fact, when Devin Williams struggled to start the season, Luke Weaver took over from him in that closing role, and he handled it very well. And Devin Williams down the stretch got back to his old form, which I think that the Mets are kind of banking. That Devin Williams, that last year was kind of a fluke, that he will get back to his old form like he was with the Milwaukee Brewers, where he had, I believe, like a 1 ERA or near that for 6 straight seasons for the Milwaukee Brewers. If he could get anywhere close to that, he could be even better than Edwin Diaz was for the New York Mets. And that's not even an exaggeration. That's just the facts. And Luke Weaver, also another great high leverage reliever option. So I absolutely love to see it. But now that we have gone over all the losses and the acquisitions that the Mets have made, we're going to be taking a look at who the Mets, what the lineup's looking like, what everything is looking like. So we're going to pull this up on the screen right here. You will see the lineup for the New York Mets is Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez, Luis Robert Jr., and Carson Bench. I do want to mention that on the bench we do have Mark Vientos still. We still have Ronnie Mauricio. We still have Luis Torrens. So could we see potentially a guy like Mark Vientos getting reps over Brett Beatty at DH? That's potential, or that's possible. They could be, flip-flopping, based on whoever the pitcher is, whoever the better matchup is. I can see that being a, pretty realistic option for the Mets, just flip-flopping Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. Most notably, what I want to share with you guys is last year the Mets offense, let's face it, it just wasn't clutch at all. They were not that great as a group together. But going into 2026, David Stearns has completely rebuilt this offense. 5 of these bats in this lineup are going to be brand new. One of them being Carson Bench, who is a top prospect for the New York Mets. But we've added guys like Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, and Luis Robert Jr., who all have super, super high potential. Bo Bichette is almost a shoo-in to be fantastic. Jorge Polanco had a fantastic year last year. Marcus Semien, if he could get a solid bat, we already know what he could be for a team. Luis Robert Jr., his potential, I mean, it's just the opportunities for this Mets offense are going to be insane next year. They have a great chance to become a great offense next year. But now take a look at the projected rotation, and there's really only one change, and that is Freddie Peralta being added to that top of that rotation. The top 2 guys in Freddie Peralta and Nolan McLean. That is an absolutely nasty 1-2 punch at the top of that rotation. And that can go really toe-to-toe with any 1-2 in the MLB, especially in the playoffs in a 3-game series. Having those 2 guys taking the bump you could easily take a team out in 2 games just because of how dominant and great of pitchers those 2 guys are. And then behind them, we have David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, and Kodai Senga. And still someone who we're going to be having in AAA is going to be Jonah Tong, one of the top prospects in baseball, the top right-handed starting pitcher prospect in all of baseball. And if a guy like Clay Holmes or David Peterson is performing well, maybe even Sean Manaea, Jonah Tong can get up to speed in AAA pretty quickly, just get more innings thrown there. He could be a phenomenal asset for this Mets rotation as well. So this rotation has a ton of potential. And take a look at the bullpen. What was clearly one of the biggest weaknesses on this team just a couple weeks ago has become one of their greatest spots. They have Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, Brooks Raley, Luis Garcia, who I did not go over too much, but he's a great middle of the bullpen reliever. You also have Huascar Brazoban, Austin Warren, and Tobias Myers. So maybe there are 2 spots where we need to fill that Austin Warren and Huascar Brazoban spot. That's a little iffy, but everyone else has potential to be a fantastic reliever for the Mets next year. And you also have to remember AJ Minter. He is on the injured list. If he can come back healthy, he can replace one of Huascar Brazoban or Austin Warren. And even Tyler McGill, he is also on the injured list. He's probably back for actually this season. Because I'm just seeing he got Tommy John at the end of September. He's not coming back this season. But AJ Minter coming back. Deno Nunez, he's probably not going to come back because of the fact he also got Tommy John. And Reed Garrett also got Tommy John. Wow, I did not realize how many people got Tommy John on this team. But even Christian Scott, another top Mets pitching prospect, who I literally have forgotten about all offseason. I don't know why. He slipped my mind basically every time I've talked about this team and the pitching rotation. But Christian Scott, when he was called up 2 years ago, was absolutely phenomenal for the Mets in that rotation. But he did also get Tommy John surgery. I don't know why it's plaguing this entire team. But Christian Scott did get Tommy John surgery. He was out all of last year. But he is back throwing. He is going to be healthy coming into spring training. And he has a great chance of coming out of spring training on this Mets roster, potentially as a reliever, because, or we could even slot him into that rotation and put Clay Holmes back in the bullpen. We have so many options, and it's kind of ridiculous. David Stearns, who I thought was having a horrendous offseason at the beginning, yes, he was. He has really turned it around and made this team fantastic. A lot of options literally everywhere on this team. But now, I'll be getting into my final grade for this New York Mets offseason, breaking down all the losses, all the acquisitions, taking all of that into consideration, and who the New York Mets have now, what the team's going to look like in 2026. My final grade for the New York Mets, an A. I think this offseason started off so poorly for David Stearns, and I was seriously concerned that this offseason would finish as an F. But the fact that he got 5 new bats in this lineup, added an ace pitcher in Freddie Peralta, and completely revamped the bullpen. We have a ton of options there, and a ton of great options at that. The lineup, a lot more clutch hitters, which was one of our biggest problems in 2025, and fixing the rotation by getting an ace. I would hate to see him get one more, maybe from Valdez. But where the rotation is now, I think it's fine. Maybe another pitcher, but Jonah Tong or Christian Scott could be that guy for the Mets. We don't know yet. So Mets fans, my final grade for this offseason is going to be an A. But please make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below what your final grade for the Mets offseason would be. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.